Welcome to Tekedia Capital. I'm WC Ekeke. I use the next few minutes to provide an overview of what we do at Tekedia Capital. So, the first thing here is to look into this world map. You look into this world map, you can basically see beautiful things, nice colored maps of nations. Here, there are so many vices, so many frictions, many challenges. Hunger, lack of electricity, lack of clean water, infant mortality. So just so many paralyses that we have around the world. Interestingly, these frictions and challenges are also opportunities if you look at them from the other angle. At Tekedia Capital, our drive, our motivation is to actually see how we can become agents through partnership with startups and founders, entrepreneurs, to find solutions to these frictions, which are everywhere in the world, of course, largely focusing within the African continent. You know, over decades, so many things have been written about Africa. At the time, it was called a hopeless continent. But after a period of time, it was said that Africa was rising. And from a rising Africa to an aspiring Africa, and to the state we are today, where everyone wants a piece of Africa. So there has been a lot of transformation. Of course, so many people may argue that things have not become readily very better. But nonetheless, we cannot dispute the fact that the trajectory, even though it's not very fast, is actually moving on the right path. So opportunities are in abundance. And unlocking these opportunities, we know, has always followed across human history through the paths of building productive ventures. In other words, companies are vehicles upon which these frictions in markets could actually be unlocked. The world we live is inherently imperfect in nature. And one of the ways of fixing the frictions in markets is to build companies. Because companies are vehicles which actually make it possible to bring demand and supply into a near perfect equilibrium point for transaction to take place. At Tekedia Capital, our job is to see how we can work with entrepreneurs and startups to build category king companies, which can actually make it possible to fix the frictions in the market, provide solutions to customers, and now liberate people from the frictions, liberate companies, liberate institutions, liberate governments from the challenges that they have. And whenever these things are done, markets will always find a way to reward you through profits, through valuation, and of course through great results. So that is what is happening in our world, that companies are vehicles to fix these frictions that we have in the marketplace. And Tekedia understands one thing. Looking back into the great debates of the Greek philosophers, where Pythagoras noted that the world is nothing but numbers, we do believe that technology-anchored companies, which are built on the constructs of understanding how numbers will affect everything we do, is very catalytic and very important. So in other words, what are the numbers around a particular friction? What are the numbers around a particular market? What are the numbers around a particular opportunity? We want to see how the numbers will influence, affect, and trigger the opportunity that we are looking in that particular place. Because according to Pythagoras, the universe is nothing but numbers. And that means the more you understand your numbers around whatever you're trying to do, the better you have a chance to win in that market. And that is why we are so fixated on the construct that entrepreneurial capitalism, built within the tenets or using technology to create competitive advantage, will always lead to something more powerful than anything that we have in the world today. Technology is a competitive advantage. At Tekedia Capital, we like to make friends with startups, companies, entrepreneurs who are building businesses anchored on the power of technology because they are building on the constructs of numbers. So across Africa and beyond, we have seen how these things are happening. We now have companies worth at least $1 billion, focusing on the African diaspora or Africans in the homeland. The companies like Florawave, companies like Wave, Moneypunch. You can also see beyond and below them other new species of companies which are coming. And across the world, you see what they call unicorns. Companies worth at least $1 billion in valuation. They are growing monthly, and they continue to grow. Because there are still frictions in the world. And if there are still frictions in the world, the implication is that there are opportunities that people can build to unlock. At Tekedia Capital, we are in the business of funding those who are providing solutions to overcome those frictions. We also see patterns, and we work on patterns because the world is made up of numbers. Looking at Nigeria specifically, or some parts of sub-Saharan Africa, you could see there are patterns. In the 1990s, the new generation banks were born. New banks, the finest banks we have in the Nigeria Stock Exchange, so many of them were created in the 1990s, the era of the new generation banks. 10 years later, we had the voice telephony, where we had the MTN and all the telecommunication companies coming on board. 10 years later, the era of mobile internet, where now we turn our devices into bank branches. We turn those phones, connecting them to the internet, and beautiful things are happening. We are in the application utility era. And this application utility era is basically combining and recombining factors of production through the power of mobile internet to change market segments, market territories, and practically everything that we do, from logistics to retail to financial services to commerce. There is nothing that will be left untouched. Massive transformation. And we want to invest and make friends with those who are leading those changes. From agriculture to financial services, real estate, education, technology, energy, healthcare. Tekedia Capital is there. And as we do that, beautiful things happen. We advance the prosperity of nations. We advance communities, empower people, because a force of good, where frictions in the market are solved through the free market system, comes into play. We invest in tech and companies in all sectors. We look at your marginal cost efficiency as we are making a decision whether to invest in you. We want people with great team, awesome products, with smiling curves at the edges, because those are places where we find competitive positioning. We offer more than money. We provide contact, support, mentoring to these innovators. And of course, of everything, we believe in the supremacy of business model, because the logic of a fund to capture value is based on the business model. At Tekedia Capital, we work with our funds to discover the best way possible for us to capture value within that fund. That is why we spend time to look at the business model to capture that. And we like to solve this equation. But only when you have awesome products and you can execute very well, that is the only time you can have a great company. In other words, there can never be a great company without a great product. And we are all philosophically connected into this belief that great products will win territories. We focus on early stage tech companies. Africa operating, but could be legally incorporated. Of course, we also invest in foreign startups. They could be operating anywhere, but we always like to see how relevant they could actually be within the African space. We are a syndicate. We pool resources, democratizing access to wealth building, open to all Africans, African in diaspora, homeland, company, investment clubs, angel club, global citizen, anywhere, at any time. We have deep domain expertise in technology and business. This is a Cambrian moment of entrepreneurial capitalism, where the formation of new ventures has come at a point where the combinatorial power of combining technology pieces to build products and services that can solve frictions in the market, it has never ever been like this before. And we support startups and see how we help them grow. Join our community, you need about $1,000 or the local equivalent. And of course, that covers 4 cycles. Typically, we do 2 3 cycles per year, but basically 2 cycles per year. So you're basically paying for 2 years for that 1,000. An exit, we take 20% carry, and all funds go to startups. We don't charge startup a dime. That means unless there is a win, we do not get anything. Unlike companies and syndicates, they take 10%, 5% of the total fund. That means even if the startups fail, they've already made money because they take a fee on you. We don't do that. Everything, 100%, go to the startup. So we have funded dozens of companies, from our parts to the BRT bus, powerful cowrie card in Lagos, Touch and Pay, to, Mako Autotech, to Doja, one of the top leading identification KYC companies in the world, to Remy Security, to the best firm, according to Business Day in Nigeria, in the space of platform business, looking at Z Africa, Agora, Bitmama, Trade Grid, there are many of them. And we are just starting. And that is the reason we say, come here and join us, because we have received recognitions, winning awards, winning so many awards. We want you to join us at capital.tekedia.com or email us at capital@tekedia.com. Let's build the foundation of the next Africa through entrepreneurial capitalism. That's what our syndicate does. And we invite you to join us. Thank you so much.